Hi everyone, γεια σας και καλώς ήρθατε to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today I'm going to teach you how to make pistachio baklava. It's going to be so delicious, so easy to make, flaky, sweet, just one of the best desserts you'll ever make. And I'm going to teach you how to make it using my hack that I learned while we had the bakery for 10 years. Makes baklava making so easy. Let's get started. So we're going to begin by making the syrup, and in my pot over here I have 3 cups of granulated sugar. To that I'm going to add 2 cups of water and the juice of half a lemon. This is going to help keep it from crystallizing. And I'm going to cook this over medium heat until the sugar melts. Once the sugar melts, I'm going to add a cup of honey. Greek honey is best. Then I'm going to add 1 to 2 tablespoons of rose water, but you can definitely use orange blossom water if you prefer that instead, and a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. I'm going to take it off of the heat and let it cool completely. Okay, so now it's time for the pistachios. So I like to buy already shelled and roasted pistachios because that's what's easily available. These are also salted, but you can definitely use unsalted if you don't like the combination of sweet and a little bit savory in your food. And you do not need all of these pistachios, but because I'm also recording a pistachio cake recipe today, I'm just gonna go ahead and chop up the whole bag. And you want these finely chopped. You don't want this to turn into a paste, so be careful. Pulse it a few times until they're finely chopped. That looks good. You still want there to be some bigger pieces in there for that nice crunchy texture. Okay, so now it's time to put the whole thing together. So I have a pound of number 4 phyllo that's been thawed out overnight in the refrigerator, and then it's been sitting on my counter all morning for about 2 hours. You can leave it out 2 to 3 hours. It's best to leave it out so that way it's easy to work with, but make sure you leave it in its packaging until right around the time when you're ready to start assembling the baklava. Otherwise, if you open it, the sheets will dry out and they'll begin to crumble on you. I'm using a 1/4 sheet baking pan. This is a metal baking pan. I love using this because there's no fear of it cracking, because it has happened to me with glass baking dishes. But you can use a ceramic baking dish if you want, or a metal 9 by 13-inch baking dish if that's all you have. That will work. You could even make this in a round baking pan if you really wanted to. You would have to play with the phyllo though to do that. So first I just measure out the phyllo, the size of the pan, and then I cut it down. It's really a little bit bigger than the middle. One piece is going to be bigger than the other, but we're going to alternate the layers so it'll work out. You won't even know that there are different sizes. Over here I have 3 sticks or 3/4 of a pound of unsalted butter that I've just melted, and I'm just going to brush the bottom of the pan with it, and you will not see the butter until the very end now. So traditional baklava recipes require you to butter each and every layer. When we had the bakery, we had to make hundreds of these sometimes, especially around the holiday season, and that just took too much time. So we started to skip that buttering in between step and just pouring the butter on top, and it comes out perfectly. So you want to layer about 10 sheets of phyllo on the bottom, and the way you're going to work with the smaller sheets, you're going to put half on one side and half on the other. And if they're torn, you don't have to worry about it. This won't even show. And I have 3 cups of ground pistachios here. I'm just going to sprinkle a handful of the ground pistachios over the phyllo. And then I'm just going to continue layering. I'm going to do about 4 layers at a time now, so that way there's lots of pistachios and filling in between, all throughout the baklava, or maybe 6. I don't know. I don't really count. This doesn't have to be precise. As long as you get most of this filling in here and you use up all of the phyllo, you'll be fine. And if you like a thicker nut filling, then just do more phyllo sheets and fewer nut layers, if that makes sense. And there'll be a thicker amount of nut in between the layers. I like to use up all of these smaller sheets first before I use up the larger sheets, so that way I have enough for the top. And if you have Mediterranean or Middle Eastern grocery stores nearby you, you'll find peeled pistachios that are not salted or roasted. They'll be brighter green in color. So if you want to, you can use those. But honestly, I love the saltiness of these pistachios. I'm just going to take the remaining sheets and put them on top. And now it's time to cut the baklava. So you want to cut 3 slices first, or 3 strips. You can take out a ruler and be very precise about it. and then 4 on this side. So cut it in half first, and then each portion in half again. And this is fine. If you want to serve bigger portions of baklava, you'll get 12 squares like this. But the way we did it at the bakery, we like to do triangles. So you get 24 pieces. These are rich and sweet. So sometimes people just want a little triangle or two. So then just go down diagonally on each square and cut it into a triangle. And you'll end up with 24 triangles. And then the hack that makes life so easy when it comes to making baklava, you just pour all of the melted butter on top. And it's gonna bake right through the baklava. The layers are gonna get crispy and just perfectly cooked, and you've just skipped so much effort and time, and you're still gonna get the same result. Now, I usually don't clarify my butter, so that's why there are some, bits of milk from the butter already in there. If you want to, you can clarify your butter by removing all of those before you pour it on top, or you can use already clarified butter from the store, but this is gonna be fine. There you have it. It's ready for the oven. I used to bake baklava at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, but lately I've been baking it at 325 degrees Fahrenheit, just a little bit longer, and it comes out even crispier and just more delicious, so that's what I do. Preheat your oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's gonna bake in there for about 1:20 to 1:30 minutes. You'll know it's ready once it's beautifully golden on top. So keep an eye on it, because ovens do vary. It can be ready faster or it can take longer. It just depends on your oven, so keep an eye on it. When it's golden, take it out of the oven and carefully pour the cooled syrup on top. Let it sit for about an hour or so until all of that syrup absorbs, and then it's gonna be ready to serve. All right, so the baklava is kind of sort of ready to be served, but I don't have too much time to wait, so I'm gonna go ahead and dig into it. Now, if you notice that the top of the baklava does have some burnt brown bits, that comes from not clarifying the butter. That's the milk solids that are left in the butter. So if you really care about that presentation, you can go ahead and clarify your butter or buy already clarified butter known as ghee. It is up to you. I don't really mind it. If you want to decorate the top with some more crushed pistachios, you can do that, but it's just good the way it is. And this does taste good at room temperature, freshly made, but it also tastes delicious refrigerated. So you can refrigerate it and then serve it the next day if you're making it for a party. Time for the taste test. You hear that crunch? That's what you want to hear. And it's cooked all the way through. The phyllo is toasted all the way through, and that is what you want, because if it's not cooked all the way through, it's going to get that soggy taste, and you don't want that. Perfectly sweet and delicious, like it came out of the best baklava bakery that you've ever been to. It's so good. I hope you guys give it a try. Serve this with some Greek coffee to cut down that sweetness. Baklava is supposed to be sweet, but if you guys don't want that much syrup on it, by all means, put less. It's your kitchen, your rules. Make it to suit your family's taste. The exact measurements are on the website, dimitrasdishes.com. If you want to learn how to make café, Greek coffee, click over here and I'll see you right over there. Yes, us.